This is A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. It's Friday night, or maybe it's Saturday morning, depending on when you're listening. Either way, you made it through another week. In a world that doesn't just feel chaotic, it's professionally chaotic. We've got disaster-level headlines, diplomatic sabotage, and tariffs so heavy they're about to tip Canada into Lake Ontario. I wasn't even going to do a serious show tonight. I wanted to tell you a story. I wanted to rant a little. Maybe even let you breathe for once. But the last few days had other plans, unfortunately. So before I slip into a different kind of vibe, let's hit a few of the real headlines you shouldn't miss, the ones that actually matter, not the ones designed to spike your blood pressure. Here's what's actually worth knowing this weekend. I start in Central Texas with an update where catastrophic flash floods have taken the lives of at least 121 people. More than 170 are still missing. Entire communities have been swallowed by rising waters, and the federal response is now under scrutiny, not just for speed, but for humanity. President Trump visited the scene earlier today, Friday, promising support, but if recent history is any guide, we'll be measuring that support in photo ops and delays, not in sandbags and food trucks. Next up, the president has proposed a 35% tariff on Canadian goods. That sounds like a repeat, everyone. It isn't. It's now Trump going, I'm pissed off at Canada now. Let's revisit this. So 35% tariff on Canadian goods. Because if there's one thing we all needed right now, it's more expensive maple syrup and farm equipment. It's a move that could backfire economically and politically, especially in rural swing states where Canada isn't just a neighbor, it's a trading partner. And maybe, just maybe, a better version of us in flannel. Finally, things got ugly in California, where federal agents raided farms near Carpinteria and Camarillo in a high-profile immigration crackdown. Now, protesters clashed with agents, and videos are already circulating showing forceful arrests and chaotic scenes. This isn't just about immigration. It's about how far the government is willing to go and how close we are to turning farms into front lines. So yes, the world's still on fire. But now that you're caught up, let's step away from the flames for a second. Because sometimes, in a world gone mad, you've got to laugh, reflect, or just zone out, if only to stay sane. And that brings us to something I want to make a regular part of the show. I call it News from the Edge of Sanity. These aren't the stories that will start a war or crash the market. They're the ones that slip by quietly while the rest of us are pounding on a soundproof wall, desperate to be heard. But they're real, and they might just be the most honest reflection of where we are right now as a species. Let's start with a man who built his entire career eating raw liver and yelling about ancestral living, and who apparently thinks the best way to rebuild his image is with fake police and Instagram clout. Brian Johnson, a.k.a. the Liver King. He actually staged his own arrest this week on video with handcuffs, fake cops, and an actual ankle monitor still strapped to his leg from a real arrest just days earlier. The caption below his video read, "I thought it might be funny." Nothing says I'm handling my legal troubles maturely like turning your actual criminal case into a TikTok sketch. At this point, Liver King isn't a health influencer. He's a walking lawsuit waiting for a signature. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, we had a gas station robbery where the suspect was shirtless, barefoot, might as well have been arguing with a squirrel on his way out. Let me set the scene. Two men walked into a convenience store. Sounds like a joke, right? But two men walked into a convenience store, armed. Not with guns, not with knives, but with live pythons. They waved him around like Indiana Jones with anxiety issues and demanded money and CBD oil. And somehow that's not the weirdest part. The clerks were genuinely terrified. I mean, wouldn't you be? Someone slams a snake down on the counter and starts yelling about cannabinoids. That's not a robbery, that's a prophecy. And for the record, if you're stealing non-psychoactive cannabis supplements with reptiles, I don't think crime is your real problem. Go home. Reevaluate. Maybe don't lead with the boa constrictor next time. Over on Spotify, a band that doesn't even exist has quietly racked up over 500,000 monthly listeners. The band is called The Velvet Sundown. Trippy name, moody vibes, vintage album art, and not a single living person involved. The entire band, from the music to the lyrics to the fake backstories, is generated by artificial intelligence. People are leaving 5-star reviews on this band saying things like, "This band gets me." No. What gets you is a predictive algorithm trying to sell you oat milk. I'm not saying the music's bad. Honestly, it's pretty catchy. But if the best rock group of the summer is just some code with a sad boy filter, then I think we've hit the end of the road creatively. And probably emotionally. Let's hop over to France for this next story. A man, 62 years old, was driving with his wife through the south of France. They stop at a highway gas station. He gets out, stretches his legs, maybe buys a Coke, gets back in the car, and drives off. Without her. 3 hours later, he realizes she's not in the back seat. Because she never was. She'd gone inside to use the bathroom. By the time he called police, he couldn't even remember which gas station he left his wife at. He said, and I quote, "I thought she was sleeping." Sleeping? For 300 kilometers? Sir, if your wife can disappear for 3 hours and you don't notice, you're not in a marriage. You're in a rideshare. And finally, Florida, because, of course, a man at Orlando International Airport tried to board a commercial flight with an AR-15 and 163 rounds of ammo in his carry-on. When TSA stopped him, he told them it was his comfort item. I'll let that sink in for a second. His comfort item. Hey, I bring headphones and ibuprofen when I fly. This guy packed like he was flying through the apocalypse, not over it. And sure, some other people bring a neck pillow. But if your emotional support object requires a serial number and a federal background check, maybe you should just stay home and hug a couch cushion. Honestly, at this point, Florida doesn't need stricter gun laws. It needs a padded room at every TSA checkpoint. That was your news from the edge of sanity. A friendly reminder that while the headlines are terrifying, the sidelines are completely unhinged. I'm not saying the world's broken, but I wouldn't let it babysit my dog. Email me your thoughts, your stories or rants, even the ones written in crayon with rage, at aworldgonemad@gmail.com. Or leave me a voicemail anytime at 833-399-9653. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple or Spotify. It helps. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. I'll be back Monday. I'll be doing my podcast from a giant Ziploc bag while underwater. Rescue crews will be standing by. By Monday, we can expect at least 3 new tariffs, 2 firings in another department that counts and matters, and 1 press conference held from the back of a moving golf cart where the president yells, "I'm putting tariffs on gravity. It's been hurting our people for years." Stay hopeful.